Support for Consider This is provided by the University of Nebraska at Omaha College of Communication, Fine Arts, and Media.
From the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Consider This, a program of issues and information behind today's news.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, Dancing Beyond Limits. Joining us to talk more about it are Suzanne Doherty, the program's founder and director, Ashley Hedden, founder of Bella Dance, and Mary Claire O'Malley. Mary Claire is one of Ashley's very first dancers. Thank you all so much for being here and welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Suzanne, I want to start with you. How do you define dance?
You know, dance is an expression. It's a way of communicating oneself, one's emotions, and being in touch with your own body. At Dancing Beyond Limits, we love it's a common quote, but to watch us dance is to hear our hearts speak.
Very cool. Okay, so talk about your background a little bit.
Sure. So I grew up dancing and then as a dance teacher, but I also am a pediatric physical therapist. And so I work with kids, and most of them have some sort of lifelong limitation, but certainly not one that limits them from being able to enjoy the same passion and the same dreams that I had as a kid, and that's dancing.
Okay, so at some point then you take these two worlds, right, and you put them together for this program.
Yes.
This nonprofit called Dancing Beyond Limits. Before we talk about the program itself, tell us a little bit, where were you in your journey when you thought, wait a second, I could take both of these and make something really great? Do you recall that?
I knew I wanted to do it even when I was a physical therapy student. Actually, I had an assignment in school where we were supposed to create a business model, and I had to redo the assignment because I actually dreamt up Dancing Beyond Limits while I was in physical therapy school when I was supposed to come up with a PT business, but it really served me well because when I was ready to take this leap of faith and start, we already had a mission and we were ready to go.
Wow. So when people ask you to describe a program like that, I think what's most difficult is boiling it down. You know, how do you, in passing, explain this to people?
You know, Dancing Beyond Limits is really like any other dance class. There's a question of the day where the dancers get to socialize and work on those social skills and build friendships. Then we have some warm-ups where the dancers are learning proper stretching techniques, they're learning about their bodies and being healthy. And then we have across the floor time, and then they're learning choreography and technique and performance values just like any other dancer. What makes us different is anybody can participate despite any physical limitation or ability to participate in a regular dance class because we partner each dancer with a volunteer, and so we have a one-on-one buddy, a dance buddy for each of our dancers.
Very cool. Now, Ashley, how did you become involved with all of this?
Yeah, so I actually work as a pediatric occupational therapist as well. Suzanne and I are colleagues outside of Dancing Beyond Limits. And I started Bella Dance, which is an adapted dance program here in Omaha back in 2013. And through working with Suzanne, we realized we were doing similar things in Lincoln and in Omaha, and decided to join forces about 2 years ago and really make Dancing Beyond Limits something bigger and grander, and with hopes to make it grow. Okay. So that's how we became connected and how we've grown to what Dancing Beyond Limits is today.
And I think to give viewers even a greater understanding of all of this, and I don't ever want to assume anything, I think it would be nice if the two of you were to kind of break down your respective areas of expertise. So physical therapy is defined as what?
Mobility.
Okay. One word, pretty simple, getting from point A to point B. Yes?
I love it.
Okay, occupational therapy then.
Broken down simply, I would say it's working towards independence. So whether that's, independence is very different at a smaller age versus an older age, but working towards those independent skills, which can include mobility, amongst a lot of other things.
Wow, this is quite a concept. Very impressive. And Mary Claire, thank you so much for joining us today. So you're one of Ashley's students, right?
Yes.
When you are not dancing, and can I call you MC?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're not dancing, what do you like to do?
Move shadow.
Okay. Anything else?
We do hair done and makeup and put sparkly costumes on.
Oh, she's
Hair
talking about
and-
what she loves about dance, which is hair and
Yeah.
makeup and getting sparkly
Costumes.
costumes.
Well, that's yes, and we all love that. That's very important stuff, isn't it? So what do you think about Ashley, your teacher?
She's awesome.
Sums it up in one word, doesn't it, MC, huh? Yeah, you like the class. Tell us about your dance class. What do you do there?
Dance.
Yeah, what kind of dance do you do?
Hip hop.
Hip hop, huh? Is that hard, MC?
Yes.
Yeah. Does Ashley do a pretty good job? She a good teacher?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there are other instructors too, aren't there, who are helping the students. Tell us about some of the other kids who take dance with you.
It's fun.
Yeah.
fun.
You're all having fun, aren't you? You're having a great time. Is dancing something that you think you're going to do for a long time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you were telling me before too, you like to sing, huh? So you put the two together, that hip hop and that singing, and you got quite a little party going on, don't you? Yeah,
We've
very
got a lot
nice.
of friends in dance class outside of dance too, which is
Yeah,
fun.
very, very nice. So, MC, if we have people watching and they're thinking about becoming involved and working with Ashley and Suzanne, what would you tell those kids out there who wanted to try it?
They will come join us.
Yeah, because you guys you look like you're having a lot of fun when I look at the videos. It seems like a really good group, MC, huh? Yeah, so Ashley, talk to us a little bit more about some of those students who are working right alongside MC in her classes.
Yeah, so kind of like Suzanne said, we have students of all abilities.
Yeah.
And we're really fortunate to encompass anyone who wants to dance because of the support of all of our volunteers. So we really just encourage kids to come, let their guard down, have a great time, engage, do what you feel like you can do for the day. And as we get to know our dancers a little more, we certainly try to push them to learn some of the skills and technique of ballet or hip hop or a little bit of jazz and lyrical, which is fun too because we've been able to see dancers like MC grow so much over the past few years and really seen her shine.
Very nice. And Suzanne, where do you find that most of those students are coming from? You're still relatively new, right? I mean, where are you getting the referrals? Are there certain folks who are much more aware of you than others? And how is that work in those partnerships?
I definitely use some of my professional networking and letting other area therapists know about the opportunity. But to be very honest, we really haven't done much advertising because our dancers keep coming back. And so our classes are actually bursting at the seams. This past year in our Omaha class, we actually split into 2 groups because we had more than 20 students in the Omaha class alone.
Wow, what a great problem to have, huh?
It is.
So for the two of you, as you know, we are statewide, and so this is primarily Omaha and Lincoln for right now. But if you have somebody on the other side of the state who's thinking this is pretty cool and inspirational and so many other things that at least I thought of when I was watching the videos, what would you say to them in terms of wanting to start up something like this, Suzanne?
I think if you can dream it, you can achieve it. It's a little bit scary to take that leap, and especially when I started, there were there was no rules or no how-to manual to do this, but if you believe in it and you put your heart into it, it can grow. I think a great place to start would be partnering with local therapists who maybe don't have any dance experience, but they offer an expertise in inclusion and the ability to adapt. And so perhaps having a therapist and a local dance instructor or studio owner partnering together to start a similar program.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I want to take a look. We have photos that you were kind enough to send in. And as we're walking through those, just tell us what's coming to mind as you see these pictures. So we'll take a look at those.
So I can speak to the first one. You can see that our buddies are very hands-on, and not all of our dancers are doing the same thing. There's a dancer that's working on pointing toes and stretching those hamstrings at the same time, and there's a dancer that's working on moving their arms, and you can see that all of our buddies are wearing our black buddy t-shirts that they wear for all of the performances, and so they are right there with their buddies. Our second picture shows more of that.
And here's a little guy who we were doing a photo shoot with after our winter performance, and he's just being himself, having a great time, being silly. Again, with his buddy that he spent a lot of time with over the semester, and they were able to develop a really great friendship through the program.
Here's another picture. You can see we have handmade headbands that somebody actually donated to our group, in addition to really authentic dance costumes that are really heavily subsidized because of donations to our group. So the families are only paying a relatively small costume fee in order to have a really sparkly, shiny costume that they all love.
Well, I can now see why MC was so excited about the hair and the makeup and the costumes. It's just so beautiful, yeah. And this big group shot here.
So this is a picture of all of our volunteers and dancers for one semester. Everyone's getting together. It was right after our winter performance, and we had a lot of fun performing for this performance.
We try to do 2 performances a year. So you saw our winter performance, and then this picture was our spring performance at the end of the year. Each of our groups actually gets to perform in a big dance recital with their respective studios. So Fusion Dance Studio hosts us in Omaha, and we get to be a part of that recital. And then Chase, the Spirit of Dance in Lincoln, and so we're part of the Chase recital. But we also bring both groups together to do a combined performance, and this was the end of the combined performance. So you can see the different colors of tutus signifies the different groups coming together and doing their individual routines and also a shared routine that everybody learned together.
Very cool. Well, now those are still photos, but we're talking about movement on this program today. We're talking about mobility and dance and all of that. So we do have a video, and we want to put that up for our viewers. And as that's rolling and you ladies want to talk over that a little bit, we're going to take these photos and put them into action. Tell us what it is that we're seeing here.
So here we have our dancers doing one of their routines. They're making a big circle, they're coming together. All the dancers have learned the same routines. And you can see the volunteers are doing it side by side. If possible, some of our dancers need more one-on-one help and assistance to complete those same dance moves.
And then we have dancers that are really very independent, doing it on their own, and their buddies able to step back.
Yeah, you know, and I think it's important probably at this point, especially after seeing the video, you know, that's just 20 seconds for us as a viewer to take a look at. Took a lot of time and energy and effort and patience, not just on the instructor's part, but on the student's part as well. You are all really kind of forced to get into this room and work together and have some sort of product when you're all finished. So tell us a little bit about just that clip in particular. What kind of time goes into that when you're talking about all levels here in terms of folks coming through the door and having their own stories to tell and their own journeys that got them there?
So we meet for 8 weeks each semester, and really we start learning our dance routine week 1 or week 2 and spend the remaining weeks just working towards 1 or 2 dances. The last few years we've been very ambitious and tried to learn 2 dances in a semester. So during that time we go through, you know, breaking down what are the specific moves required for the dance, how are we going to put it together, and then we try it together with music. It's a very quick 45-minute class. But a lot goes into that time.
Yeah, so instructors, you say you have a buddy. There's one volunteer instructor for each student, correct?
Correct.
Where are these people coming from, Suzanne?
We have quite a great relationship with the Creighton Occupational Therapy program. So it's really nice to have OT students, and we also have PT students as well that are coming and doing a lot of our volunteering. But we really have volunteers from all walks of life. We have some retired therapists, retired nurses, and teachers. In our Lincoln program, we have some siblings that have watched this program grow, and now they've grown into buddies. And we have some dancers, some middle school, some high school dancers that are also really interested in learning and growing through this opportunity, and it's been fun to see them blossom into a leadership role as well.
I would say so. So Ashley, from a training perspective, I mean, again, this is quite an ordeal, right? So when you have your dancers coming together with your therapists, what's happening ahead of the students coming in? Kind of set the stage for us there in terms of the training or the instruction or kind of prepping everybody for what's to come.
Yeah, so all of our volunteers go through kind of a quick volunteer training session with Suzanne and I, where we kind of talk about different ways that you can adapt different dance moves for different ability levels. And then during the actual dance class, one of us is kind of working behind the scenes one-on-one with the volunteers to really help the dancer be as independent as they possibly can. So we're kind of going through, and here, try this position, maybe place hands here, trying to find ways for the kiddos to be as involved as they can throughout the actual dance class as well.
So what do you do, Suzanne, when you get to that point where you have that student who you know, I mean, everybody has potential, obviously, regardless of who you are, and you're just really kind of hitting a wall. It's not being received the way that you're delivering it, and you're seeing that student struggle. What techniques or strategies do you use to try to get them over that hurdle, to get them beyond the limit, right?
We problem solve and we adapt. Sometimes we've gone out and we've purchased headphones that help to cancel some of the extra noise from a very noisy dance class. Sometimes we do have to step out and take a break and come back in when we're ready. We're also working with the parents one-on-one as needed to problem solve. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, emails and phone calls. What can we do differently? We're very fortunate that we have a lot of returning volunteers that have really become expert dance buddies, and so they know that they can come up to the instructors or volunteer coordinator and ask questions and problem solve, and often they're coming to me with suggestions of, this didn't go well this week, what if we try it this way? Or you know, I think the dancer, we had too many spins in class, next week let's not do as many turns and see if that helps. And so it really takes a full team to adapt and to problem solve.
Wow. And so I did want to talk a little bit about the parents and the parents' role. So anytime we're introduced to something new, and this is new and great for these families, what are the expectations that are set, and what are you guys thinking as you move forward with these dancers, Ashley?
Yeah, so we've really tried to create an environment where parents can come, they can drop off their kiddo, they can socialize with other parents, they can kind of be engaged in that behind the scenes, and they can really watch through the window and watch as it was a typical dance class. We really depend heavily on our volunteers to provide that one-on-one support for dancers, so parents can sit back and be the parent and observe during that time.
Okay, so involvement, we've talked, let's see, the students, we've talked the instructors, we've talked about the parents. Now let's go into community. It sounds like you're partnering with some folks and that's been very effective. If we have folks who are watching and they want to help in some way, shape, or form, what is it that you would suggest, or where do they start to become involved with an organization like this one, Suzanne?
Well, we do rely heavily on volunteers because we're completely volunteer driven. So one way that they could consider helping is volunteering either behind the scenes. We always have special projects, or leading up into our sessions, we have a lot of paperwork to be done. So if anybody's ever looking for any small jobs, we've also had volunteers that are making our hair pieces and donating their time and gifts in that way. One of the biggest ways is also just financial donations, because we do strive to offer this at a very affordable cost for our families, just because sometimes when you have a child that is medically complex, it's very expensive, and we don't want anybody to not be able to participate. So we do have a scholarship program, but we also help to really offset the cost of costumes for our families and keep the class very affordable. And so donations go to that, and also to really special things like providing them with an individual dance photo in their costume, and a recital with treats and cookies, and lots of special opportunities, trophies that really makes our dancers feel very special and celebrate their accomplishments.
Let's talk about, I want to go back to the funding piece, so critical for a program like this, the structure of your organization. So you're Dancing Beyond Limits, but you have almost a parent organization, for lack of a better term. Tell us about that.
We do, yeah. So we're actually a subsidiary of a really great nonprofit organization called Matters on Tomorrow that was founded in Lincoln, Nebraska, to start other nonprofits. And so they support us by doing a lot of the administration, covering a lot of the costs and fees associated with being a nonprofit. And then we can focus on doing what we want to do, which is the adaptive dance piece. So when you donate to Dancing Beyond Limits, 100% of those donations go directly back to our program. And so Matters on Tomorrow is really supporting us financially as well, and then with the resources of people to do that. And any donation to our organization is tax deductible.
Fantastic. Okay, so Ashley, as we're kind of winding things down here a little bit, I think MC was being a little shy when I was talking with her about her, and I think it's just so awesome, was your word, MC, that she took the time to come in here today and to share why it is that she likes being a part of Dancing Beyond Limits. But as her instructor, I'm sure there are a few things that maybe she didn't share with us about her. If someone were to ask you about the program, I'm sure there are certain students that you have a visual of, her being one of them, right? So tell us a little bit more about MC.
Yeah, so the first time I met Mary Claire, I thought she was maybe a little shy or quiet, but I quickly learned that was not correct. As soon as we turned on the music and we sat down in a group and we started engaging in a group activity, she comes to life. And over the past few years, she's really grown to be a leader in our dance program too. Other dancers look to her to start leading a line, start following across the floor for our floor routines. She steps out and does solos now willingly without even being asked. And it's been beautiful to see her kind of grow personally, but just to also see her dance skills evolve like that.
MC, what do you think hearing all that from Ashley? Is that pretty accurate? Is that pretty close, right? Yeah, I figured as much. You have a beautiful smile, by the way, when you use it. Very nicely done. So Ashley, you touched a little bit on the benefits, leadership being one. I mean, you literally are taking these kids coming in, not really knowing what to expect, not just the kids, their parents and everybody else who's involved. What have you seen in terms of growth, those aha moments when Mary Claire MC comes through the door and you're looking at her and you're thinking, wow, in some ways I hold her future in my hands here. She wants to be a dancer. What am I going to do today to help make sure that that happens? So what are some of the other benefits that these students like MC are kind of dancing away with, right, from the studio?
Absolutely. So definitely we've seen just physical strength and mobility changes throughout the class. I know sometimes when kiddos start, the class can be very exhausting, tiring to make it through an entire class. So physically to see a kiddo grow from maybe needing to take a few rest breaks to being able to complete a full class without resting is beautiful to see. But also to just see the strength and technique that comes with the dance instruction, and see dancers walk in the door and greet the class and say, hello, I'm here, and walk right up to the mirror and start working on their poses that we've worked on over and over and over, and they know them independently now. And as an instructor, trying to find ways that we can push them and find ways for them to be challenged to really get them to the next level as a dancer too.
Very cool. And Suzanne, what has been the benefit for you by offering this program?
It definitely fills my heart. Even if I've had a long, hard day of work and I'm headed to dance class, it just gives me so much joy to see the smiles on the dancer's face. And when I started the program, it was truly for the dancers, but the longer that I do it, I have seen great friendships form between the parents who are, waiting for their dancers and cheering their dancers on. It's formed wonderful relationships and a community, and it's wonderful for all of the volunteers who are learning and growing and embracing those that are differently abled and knowing how to communicate with them. And so that gives me so much joy. And then also I have 2 small children, and watching them get to enjoy it and just know that it's the norm. And my 3-year-old is already talking about when can she be the dance buddy is really, really fulfilling. And just knowing how much we've grown from 9 dancers to 40 in 6 years has just been a dream come true, beyond my dreams.
Well, beyond your limits, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Ashley, we hear all the time about those outlets and how important they are. And, I often think these folks are sitting at home, they get to plug into something. So in the minute we have remaining, final thoughts on just what this does overall for folks.
Yeah. I think it just allows an opportunity for community engagement. It allows an opportunity for extracurricular involvement, for socialization, for friendship building, and really just strengthening, and it's fun.
Perfect.
The kids have fun.
Perfect. Very well said. So we want to put up a graphic because I'm sure there are going to be folks who are wanting more information. I think this is your own number, Suzanne, isn't this your
It
own
is.
Personal number? So Dancing Beyond Limits, 402-525-6747. Dancing Beyond Limits at mattersontomorrow.org. I want to thank our student crew working so hard behind the scenes today. You guys for joining us and sharing your stories and your expertise. Everybody for watching. As we close, a look at Omaha's Elmwood Park as seen through the lens of Yingyai Liu, a senior at UNO. We'll see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information and program archives can be found at netnebraska.org/Consider This. If you'd like to share your comments about this program, call UNO Television at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours, or send an email to cwyatt@unomaha.edu.
Support for Consider This is provided by the University of Nebraska at Omaha College of Communication, Fine Arts, and Media.